الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم ألهمنا مراشد أمورنا وأعذنا من شرور أنفسنا. أما بعد، أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The surah after Surah Al-Ahzab is Surah Saba. In Surah Ahzab, mention was made of many imtihanat that the people of Iman will have to face. The imtihan on the battlefield, the imtihan within the homes that the woman must stay, the imtihan with regards to the body, the covering of the woman. This world is nothing but Darul Imtihan. This is not a Jannah. This is not a garden. In an imtihan, some of the questions are such that a person understands it to be hard and he puts his mind to it. And then there are those questions which seem quite easy and simple. And many a time when you tell a child, tell him don't make silly mistakes. Silly mistakes are those that where he thinks it's so simple, there is no need to put the mind. In this imtihan of this world, there are those times where people see an imtihan. It is that difficulty that comes upon an individual that makes him realize where he is and brings him back. He gets a taste of the fire of Jahannam, he wakes up. For that individual, that imtihan, no matter how severe it was, whether it was in the form of a sickness, in the form of losing his wealth, whatever it was, but it brought him back towards his deen. Because of that difficulty, instead of failing the imtihan, he passed the imtihan. Many a time a person who was so far off the track, Almighty Allah's favor fell upon him. Just before passing away, he was diagnosed with a severe sickness. That severe sickness, the diagnosis would give him 6 to 7 months to change his entire life. Where he was speeding towards the fire of Jahannam, he would now be found helping and aiding the poor, spending his wealth in avenues which Allah Tabarak Ta'ala was happy with. He would make an announcement that it is the favor of my Allah, that had I died suddenly, I would have definitely been burning in the fire. But my Almighty Allah allowed me to realize that death is not far. This world is nothing but Darul Imtihan. No matter how much we have of this world, in Surah Saba, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala gives the example of Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam. وَلِسُلَيْمَانَ الرِّيحَ غُدُوُّهَا شَهْرٌ وَرَوَاحُهَا شَهْرٌ. The winds were at the servitude of Sulaiman alayhi salam, a journey which would take a normal individual a month. Sulaiman alayhi salam would make that journey in a morning. He would make that journey in an evening. وَأَسَلْنَا لَهُ عَيْنَ الْقِطْرِ. What for others was something very hard to get, for Sulaiman alayhi salam it was found flowing at his fingertips. The jinnat are the last to be obedient to man. For Sulaiman alayhi salam, they could not step out of obedience. وَمِنَ الْجِنِّ مَنْ يَعْمَلُ بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِ. The jinn would serve him and work in front of him. وَمَنْ يَزِغْ مِنْهُمْ عَنْ أَمْرِنَا. If a single jinn wanted to disobey, نُذِقْهُ مِنْ عَذَابِ السَّعِيرِ. It would find a terrible punishment falling upon him. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala had appointed angels or guards over the jinnat, where the jinn will ever work for man for free. But for Sulaiman alayhi salam, they were building, they were doing, they were serving. إِعْمَلُوا آلَ دَاوُودَ shukra. They also, Sulaiman alayhi salam, Dawood alayhi salam, they were told that all these favors around you, however, do not ever think that this world is a Jannah. This is also part of the imtihan. إِعْمَلُوا آلَ دَاوُودَ shukra. O family of Dawood, remember the amal of shukr. Continuously attribute it to Almighty Allah. And thereafter Allah Tabarak Ta'ala made that announcement, which indeed it's a very scary announcement for every servant of Almighty Allah who likes a life of ease. It is a teaching of the Sunnah that we must always ask Allah Ta'ala for afiyah. Afiyah means salamati, protection in our dunya, in our deen. We must not ask for difficulties. Many a time, however, it is not just afiyah that we are asking for. When we make dua, we many a time ask for kathra, for a lot, for plenty, to be the richest of the town, to have the doors of sustenance opening upon me, raining upon me. But the one thing that is forgotten is that if you want the favors of Almighty Allah to be raining upon an individual, which we all want, together with that we also have to ask for the sifat of shukr. That, oh Allah, when it starts raining upon me, it should not happen that I do not attribute it to you. Because if there is no shukr, then it results in kufr. In Surah Saba, Allah Ta'ala gives an example of this. This example was not one of a kind. Rather, it's an example, a living example. That whoever in this world, whether they saw difficult days or their grandparents saw difficult days, and they always thought that if the world can open up to me, how wonderful it would be. But it was seen that when the world opened up, there were so many individuals in poverty, they found their paradise. In poverty, they had love and unity. In poverty, there was no wars and arguments. And when the world opened up, that's when competition started, when jealousy started, hatred started. That little that they had with which they were purchasing Jannah, now Lord came into their hands, but they bought nothing but Jahannam. When we ask Almighty Allah, this is also an imtihan. In Surah Ahzab, the difficult imtihanats were shown. The imtihan where a person understands this is a command, fulfill the command, it says it's difficult. In this world, this is nothing but darul imtihan. Even the ease of this world is a question. Even the good things of this world come with a price. And the price for all ease is this called shukr. To continuously attribute it to Almighty Allah. To deny one's efforts in getting it. To not allow pride to overtake an individual. When the shukr is not there. When the shukr is there, man will be like Sulaiman alayhi salam, Dawood alayhi salam. Whenever they would see the favors of Almighty Allah, it would bring a cheer to the eye. They would make further dua, Rabbi awzi'ni an ashkura ni'mataka allati an'amta alayya. O Allah, continuously guide me, that I make the shukr of your favors, meaning I attribute everything to you. When shukr is an individual, pride cannot come into someone. A haughty attitude does not come. He looks at the favors around. Shukr means attributing to Allah. He does not attribute to himself. When man does not attribute to himself, he attributes to Allah. He feels shy. He feels ashamed. He thinks of his own actions and he knows he is no Junaid Baghdadi of the era. He understands the salah that he read today for Fajr was not deserving of his day going easy. He understands that the little zikr that he made during the day, that was not the pay for the favors he's enjoying. Every day getting that sweet fruit and it's never becoming sour and bitter. Every day walking in front of the people with izzat and never getting disgraced. As long as man attributes the favors around him to Almighty Allah, he is the Dawood or the Sulaiman of the time. But as Allah Ta'ala announced, وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ, but very few of my servants you will find who have this quality of shakur, a lot of shukr. A lot of shukr means when Lord comes, then man does not make Lord shukr. When Lord comes, it means Lord man has to attribute to Almighty Allah. The more power that comes to an individual, it is only with the quality of excessive shukr that man does not allow pride to enter him, a zalim nature to enter him, haughtiness to enter him. If this quality of shukr is not there, then Allah Ta'ala says, in the past it was not one or two people, there was nations. They were given the best of this world, but they were not given the quality of shukr. The very thing that they wanted, the very thing that they trusted, the very thing which they thought is their paradise became their hell. When wealth enters into families, may Allah save us all, it must come with afiyat, it must come with the quality of shukr. When it does not come, that very wealth brings upon problems in the marriage. There was a happy couple. They had no problems. They used to live by the day, but they had love amongst them. Then the world opened up for them. But then the husband went in one direction and the wife went into another. The children all got their own life. Evil started coming into the house because everything was free, everything was cheap. A time came when nothing was left in the house except wealth. There was no love, there was no unity, there was no voices, there was no talks, there was no giggling, there was no laughter. It was an empty, barren house. The money came in and he took everything out. Allah Ta'ala says, لَقَدْ كَانَ لِسَبَإٍ فِي مَسْكَنِهِمْ آيَةٌ. The surah is called Surah Saba. Verily for the nation of Saba, in their houses is a great lesson for mankind. It is a lesson that this world is not Jannah. It is nothing but an imtihan. Even that group that was blessed with a Jannah itself, meaning with the best of gardens, that garden itself became for them the destruction, the hell. It destroyed their world, it destroyed the year after. The people of Saba were a nation that stayed in the lands of Yemen. Capital of Yemen in the past, Sana'a. Near Sana'a was this area which was between two high mountains. A king or queen of the era, some say perhaps it was Bilqis. Whoever it was, when they looked at the area, they felt that if a certain blockage could be placed, so that when the waters will be coming after the rains, and moving through that passage between the mountains, what we call a valley, then if that water could be held in place, what we today call a dam, around the two mountains, there could be farms established. Water at that time was not like in our time coming into our taps. People had to go to water. But so much of water would be wasted during the rainy season if somehow that water could be held. It was the people of Saba who were going to put up this dam, and a very unique dam it was going to be. It would hold the waters of a year until the next year rainy season would come. They had, like how we have in our dams today, gates. Certain gates would open, allowing certain amount of water to go through and keeping the rest. From the dam they would have different parts. Along the paths would be different villages. It was a city that came alive because of this water. For the people of this land, water became the source of their life, the source of their enjoyment. The dam was the beginning and everything of their life. The entire trust was on the waters, not so much the water itself, but the dam that was controlling the water. Jannatani ay yamini wa shimal. If you look towards the right, you would see nothing but trees and trees as though it was one continuous garden. If you looked at the left, you would find the same. How when we're driving through those areas today which are known as lush and fertile areas, you just see lines and lines of different trees, each tree giving out a different fruit. كُلُوا مِن رِزْقِ رَبِّكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لَهُ. It was told to them, Mufassirin write, different Anbiya alayhimus salam came. Each one of them pointed that you are enjoying so much of the favors of Almighty Allah. Why is it difficult just to attribute? But think of our lives today. When we see the mighty houses that we have, and the lovely lifestyles that we enjoy, and when it is told, a Nabi is no longer going to come to our house and knock, but vicegerents of the Anbiya alayhimus salam will definitely come. When it is told to us that after enjoying so much of the world, is it difficult just to obey Allah? Then why is it that when a nikah is taking place, then that man attributes all of these favors to himself, and that's why he finds it very easy to break the law of Allah? Had there been an attribution to Almighty Allah, man would never boldly, at such occasions, disobey Almighty Allah in such a manner. There are parties, there are raves, they are going for a holiday, but at that time the way the person behaves as though the money is his, the life is his, the body is his. If anyone says to him, what are you doing? He says, don't you dare tell me what to do. The people of Shu'aib alayhi salam said to him, is it your salah telling us how to do business. That was the opposite of shukr. Every Nabi that came to them said, you are enjoying so much of the favors of Allah, just attribute it to Allah. Attribution means little but you'll have to do now. Obey the commands of Almighty Allah. The favors are not going to go, it's only going to get more. Baldatun tayyiba. You have been given a land which is so pure. Mufassirin write it was this land that as though what we call today germs, they could not live in this land. The air was too pure for them. A man with sicknesses would be sent to this land. Just on entering the land, he would start feeling better. وَرَبٌّ غَفُورٌ. And a Rabb, a master, and Allah who is indeed most kind, most forgiving. Indication was made that you will make mistakes. With the favors of Almighty Allah, we also make mistakes. But Almighty Allah is not like a king who finds his minister making one error, and then he screams at him and says, I gave you so much and you behave like this. Almighty Allah is وَرَبٌّ غَفُورٌ. That every day he finds his servant enjoying the favors of the master and breaking the law of the king. And every day Almighty Allah says to the angels, give my servant another chance. No king in the world would have given his minister so much. The neck would have been taken. Baldatun tayyiba wa rabbun ghafur. What a wonderful land. What a forgiving Allah. All had to be done now was attribute to Almighty Allah, to feel shy. In shyness to take out a chair. To make an intention somewhere along the line, my life must change. فَأَعْرَضُوا. But when man does not see the favors of Almighty Allah as an exam, then the more that he gets, the further he goes. When sickness comes, how he starts asking for du'as. How he starts going onto the musalla. When he sees a drop in his wealth, how he lifts up his hands, how he begs. But when ease comes, how quickly everyone forgets Almighty Allah. It is because this was not regarded as part of the exam. Suratul Ahzab was to show the exam which everyone knows is an exam, something hard. But many a time where people pass in the difficult questions, they fail in the easy ones. فَأَعْرَضُوا. They turned away. فَأَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ سَيْرَ الْعَرِمِ. The word arim means the dam. It was known after that the floods of Arim, the floods of the dam. It was attributed to the dam, the floods. Astrologers at that time, those working with jinnat, they informed the people around them that it seems that this dam very soon is going to give up. The collapse of the dam means the collapse of the civilization, Al-Arim. But it was very hard for people who had lived their whole lives or who had seen their parents living to say, pack up and let's move. Some of them were convinced of what their masters were saying to them. Searching for better houses, they were told, go to the lands of Aman. Searching for better food, go to the lands of Busra, Sham. And some were told, if you want to go to the lands where you will get the best of dates, what we call today Medina Munawwara. And that is how, most likely it was the Khazraj. They landed up in the lands of Medina Munawwara. Then there were those who said, no matter what, this dam is our beginning and our end, we will never leave it. So they were told the cause of the destruction of this dam will come at the hands or at the teeth of what we call today perhaps moles, blind rats. Whatever it was, it started biting at the foundation. So man's nature normally, when you see a problem, you only see the problem and you don't see behind the problem. The problem was not that rat that was biting. The problem was the Allah that had sent that rat. They brought cats and they kept it around the dam. But they did not understand that the cat can keep away a rat, but it cannot keep away a decision of Almighty Allah. Had the hands gone up at that time, there was no need for a cat. Had a tear come from the eye, there would have been no need for the cat. But when man sees only the problem in front and he forgets the command of Almighty Allah, he can try what ihtiyat, what precaution, what method, what tadbir, what plan he wants to. As long as his eye does not fall on the qudrat of Almighty Allah, the very thing that he put his trust on. First it was on the dam was going to give in. Then to save the dam, the cat, but the cat was not going to manage against this rat. Allah Ta'ala's decision was going to happen. Somehow or the other, the rats would find their way to their foundation. And they would continue biting and biting until when the dam no longer could hold that force. And it gave in. And that water which they had trusted and put their whole life on, the very thing which they saw as the source of life became the source of destruction. وَبَدَّلْنَاهُمْ بِجَنَّتَيْهِمْ جَنَّتَيْنِ. Now no longer there were two lines of gardens that would give out the best of fruits. Now it was gardens that was giving out the most bitter of fruits. There were lotus trees which was nothing but thorns. You have certain trees in the jungle, in the desert. Only certain wild animals, they can eat of that. The fruit is so thorny, but Allah has given them a tongue that can manage through those thorns. As for the rest of the people, there is no benefit. What was once upon a time for them, life became nothing but Jahannam. As those waters went, it took the land, it took the people of the land. It left only a message to the people of this world, that if this is the Jannah that you are looking for, then in this world, even Jannah itself can become Jahannam. In this world, you can build your house, as you heard about paradise. You can have the best of gardens, but that garden does not promise peace. You can have the best of lawn, but it does not promise a lovely sleep. You can have the best of carpets and beds in your house. You can have the best of kitchens, the best of interior and exterior, but it does not promise that you will have love in that house. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed the world when he was given the option that do you want the mountains of Uhud to be made into gold? He was going to show the entire world that happiness does not come with wealth. You can find happiness without wealth also. He chose a life of the highest levels of poverty. In that there was an indication to his ummah that in such high levels of poverty, if happiness could be found, then you also must understand you can find it if you're looking for it in the right place. It is not in wealth. Happiness comes from the creator of everything. They looked at the dam destroyed them. They looked at the water destroyed them. One thing they could not put their eye on, attribute, it was to the Zat of Almighty Allah. Had their eye gone to Allah Ta'ala, they would have enjoyed and continued enjoying till the end. It would have been from this garden, they would have gone to another garden. It is called the Garden of Paradise. But that one whose eye became blind from Almighty Allah, even if he got the best of gardens in this world itself, in that garden, he will find Jahannam. He will find fights and arguments, swearing, cheating. Drugs will come into that garden. It is a garden where weeds do grow, thorns do come. This is not the Garden of Paradise. ذَلِكَ جَزَيْنَاهُمْ بِمَا كَفَرُوا. Almighty Allah says they did not have shukr, so what they had? They had nothing but kufr. On account of their kufr, what else was their reward going to be? وَهَلْ نُجَازِي إِلَّا الْكَفُورِ. Almighty Allah says such punishments we do not give except to the one who is shakur, always making shukr. Kafur, one who has become blind to every favor of Almighty Allah. They enjoyed what a life. وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَهُمْ وَبَيْنَ الْقُرَى الَّتِي بَارَكْنَا فِيهَا. Between their land and the land of Sham, there was sometimes the need to travel. In the past, it was not quick journeys like today. At night, you had to stop over somewhere. Then you have to worry about wild animals. Their leaders were able to make along the path. Almighty Allah says, what leaders? It was us that put it. We wanted them to have an easy life. So on the path, at different manzils, meaning after every few miles, kilometers, Quran Zahira, there would be on the roads, on the main roads, there would be a village. There would be a place to stop over, a place to take rest. The animal would be looked after. There would be no fear of wild animals. وَقَدَّرْنَا فِيهَا السَّيْرَ. Now it was not a journey where you worried where I'm going to reach before the night. As you would travel, you would know in the next 2 or 3 hours I'll be reaching the next place. As soon as I get tired, there will be another village. Siru fiha layaliya. There was so much of aman and ease that it was said to them, even if you want to travel at night, you can travel at night. You want to travel in the day, aminin. At night, no one is going to harm you. During the day, no one is going to harm you. Man would have said, this is exactly what I want. That's the mistake we make. Whenever we ask from Almighty Allah for this world, we ask for peace, we ask for wealth, we ask for ease, but we forget one thing. If it doesn't come with the quality of shukr, it then comes with the quality of kufr. They had it all, but it never gave them anything. They became a part of the Quran. They became Qawm Saba. They became a sign for the world. That a nation who had everything except the quality of shukr. فَقَالُوا رَبَّنَا بَاعِدْ بَيْنَ أَسْفَارِنَا. This world is such, whatever you have, after a while you do get tired of it. You can be enjoying the wealth of the world, but that same mango is going to come on your plate. This is not Jannah that the mango gets better. Your wealth, you can use it perhaps to put a smile on somebody else's face, but that wealth will not put a smile on your face as long as the quality of shukr is not in the heart of a person. When there is no shukr, you become bored. You can have Jannah in this world, you will become bored. They became bored of ease, and they began saying, "Oh our Rabb, how nice it would have been if the journey was far. There would have been some excitement. There would have been some fear. At night I would be all out with the wild animals. Perhaps one wild animal would attack. I'll get the chance to fight." Man will start asking for difficulties also when he starts enjoying too much of ease. How many parents have made the mistake that they looked at their lives of difficulty and they said, how I grew up in difficult conditions, I'll never allow my children to see those days. No matter how much they open what we call spoiling, later on they say, I spoilt my child. They would shower so much upon the child. But if a child was not taught the quality of shukr, then nothing would be left of him except kufr. He would become bored in the enjoyments, and he would start searching for problems. How many boys joined clubs, became rough, when they would be asked why, what has happened? They said, I got tired of life, living it up. I got tired of a life of ease. I'm tired of staying at home. I wanted to explore. This world is like that. That person who has the quality of shukr in every condition, when he attributes to Almighty Allah, he will find the enjoyment in the gifts becoming more and more. Take away the quality of shukr, perhaps that money might become more, but the enjoyment in that money will not become. Day by day, man will become tired of his life. That is where you find a man now, he starts having an affair. A woman is having an affair. They just become tired of life. They are now looking for something which they are not finding in everything around them. They cannot find happiness. They cannot find peace. When they ask, why did you do what you do? They'll just say, I became bored. I was just looking for something else. But that one thing which they were looking for, that was hidden in the quality of shukr. Where Almighty Allah said, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. I promise if you attribute to Allah, I will give you more. That more never means the 100 rand must become 200 rand. But that more means the happiness that 100 was giving, I will give even more happiness in that 100. So that you will never become bored of that happiness. You will enjoy every day a different. Without the quality of the shukr, the gardens of this world are not gardens, but they are nothing but a bridge towards Jahannam. They said, make the journey far for us. وَظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ. What was meant as a favor to bring them closer to Allah. But for them, they were not blessed with the quality of shukr. Even the favors, they would say, take away this favor and give us difficulties. They made zulm upon themselves. فَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ أَحَادِيث. In the ending, they were left just as a talk. They were going to be mentioned in the books of tafsir. They were going to become a juz of Quran. They were going to be left as a sign for mankind. وَمَزَّقْنَاهُمْ كُلَّ مُمَزَّقٍ. We made them into pieces. The civilization of Saba was not going to remain. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِكُلِّ صَبَّارٍ شَكُورٍ. Indeed, in this there are many lessons for all the people of sabr and shukr. That what shukr and sabr you will find in the very things that you have, everything. You take away these qualities, everything can come and you will find nothing. وَلَقَدْ صَدَّقَ عَلَيْهِمْ إِبْلِيسُ ظَنَّهُ. As Allah Tabarak Ta'ala had said, very few of my servants, however, you will find with the quality of shukr. Majority will fall into kufr. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, indeed, Iblis, what he thought of man, he found it to be truthful in majority of mankind. فَاتَّبَعُوهُ. All of them followed. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, إِلَّا. However, there was always going to be one group, فَرِيقًا مِّنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. One group of the believers, they would be different. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala, through the barakah of the surah, may Allah Tabarak Ta'ala, through the barakah of Quran, a message was given to us. وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ. Indeed, very few of my servants are the ones who have this quality of attributing to Almighty Allah. The end of the waqiyah, Iblis also found majority were as he thought, that they will not have this quality. Almighty Allah said, Illa fariq. However, there was going to be one group from the believers. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala make us all amongst that group. As we move in this world, look around us and look at the favors that we have. With all those favors, then think, do I have the quality of shukr? That is something to ask Almighty Allah for. With that quality, we will find enjoyment in everything that we have around us. We will find an increase in the quantity. We will find an increase in the quality. Through the barakah of shukr, the garden of this world will only get better and better and better until it delivers us to the garden of the year after, which is a garden which will never have problems. If this quality of shukr is not there, we can have Jannah in this world, but the end of this Jannah will be the pits of Jahannam. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala save us all. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala make us from those servants of His who have been blessed with the quality of shukr. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.